All right, so we are reading about the changing world and the effect of those ancient civilizations on today's heritage and culture. So those three ancient civilizations, the Maya, the Aztec, and the Incas, have had far-reaching influence on today's culture. And so we're going to read about those civilizations found in Central and South America. So this first section here, Central America, and you can see over here on the map, some of those different countries are outlined here. Obviously, it's a very small area compared to the United States, but very, very strong cultural influence. Central America. What countries are in Central America? Most geographers put Belize, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Panama on that list. Some say the southeast part of Mexico should be included too. The Maya influence can still be seen in Belize, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Mexico. Even though the Spanish heritage is very strong in these places, the Maya have preserved at least some of their history and traditions. The religion practiced by many is a combination of ancient beliefs and the Catholic faith brought by the Spanish. In many places, Maya women still weave and wear traditional clothing such as the huipil, a blouse that is often decorated with patterns that are hundreds of years old. We're going to see a question about this here, the huipil, so we're going to want to highlight that. Some of the designs are considered sacred. The word sacred there means very, very treasured or cherished. A little bit of a religious meaning with the word sacred there. Most Maya also continue to farm in much the same way the early Maya did. Remember learning about the three sisters? And I'm sure you remember how we talked about them. Corn, beans, and squash. We're going to see a question about those guys, so we want to make sure we highlight that. Three sisters. The Maya still depend on them, although corn is their main crop. Most food is grown on small family farms, and many communities also have a common farm where those who don't own land can grow food. So again, those are some interesting and important points about the Maya. They do their farming with the three sisters, corn, beans, and squash, and they have common farms that the communities share. So even if you're not a landowner, you can still partake in the farming, which is pretty cool. Mexico. So we know Mexico is obviously directly south of the United States. The Aztec descendants who call Mexico home have not lost their culture in spite of the strong Spanish influence and the changes that have taken place over the past centuries. Many are farmers and some still travel by canoe. They celebrate traditional Aztec holidays that honor the many gods the ancient people worshipped. Like the Maya, their religion is a blend of the Catholic faith and the ancient beliefs of their ancestors. Ancestors are the people in your family who lived long ago. Today, some Aztec descendants are trying to bring back many ancient traditions. They are dedicated to preserving the art, music, and dance that were part of life in ancient times. They meet often to perform traditional songs and dances, wearing colorful costumes with beautiful headdresses. All of the costumes are made by hand. The Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos, is a Mexican holiday that began in the time of the Aztec and other ancient people. We might see a question about the Day of the Dead, and that is something that is talked about quite a bit still today, even though it came from early civilization of the Aztecs. It is celebrated throughout Mexico on the first 2 days of November. Celebrations can be as simple as a family dinner or a festive occasion that includes flowers, food, music, and dance. In many places, special church services are held to honor the dead, and families go to cemeteries to decorate the graves. Now, Peru, you can see down here on the map, is a little bit further south, part of South America down there. And Peru is where the Inca civilization was housed. Because millions of people in Peru can trace their families back to the ancient Inca, you might think that the influence of the Inca civilization would be everywhere in the country. Instead, it is mostly found in the small villages of the Andes Mountains, where the culture has not been affected as much by modern changes. We're going to highlight these words here, Andes Mountains, because that's going to come up later as something we need to remember. Andes Mountains. Llamas are very important to the Inca. They would be so thrilled to know that llamas have become such a part of pop culture now. Llamas are very important to the Inca, just as they were 500 years ago. Although modern transportation is available in the many cities, travel by llama remains the best way to get around in the mountain villages. There, Inca families raise llamas for their wool, spin and dye the wool into yarn, weave the yarn into beautiful cloth, and load the cloth onto the llamas to take it to the market to be sold. Children often begin learning to weave at age 6 or 7. That's an important point there too, and that's pretty cool that the children are starting to contribute and be part of the society and helping out their families at the young ages of 6 and 7 years old. The high altitude of the Andes is great for growing grains like barley and quinoa and tubers like potatoes. Now that word there, tubers, is kind of a funny word. That's just the category that potatoes fall under, tubers. But you're going to see that pop up later on in one of the questions. So we definitely want to highlight that potatoes are tubers. Those are some of the same crops grown by ancient Inca. Those who live at lower elevations, meaning lower down, not up high in the mountains, grow corn, tomatoes, and other fruits and vegetables. Everyone takes extra crops to the market to trade for the things they cannot grow. So again, the things that are happening today in these areas are a lot of the same things that happened years and years and years ago in the ancient civilizations. And some people are trying really, really hard to keep those ancient traditions alive so that they are not completely forgotten. That's the end of this page, and then we will do another video with the last few sections.